to meet you in Cincinnati, so take care. All right, so we've got 4 calls left to get to. I've been told that I was wrong. Tonight's dinner is not barbecue.
Oh.
It's sushi.
Wow.
Looks like I won't be skipping dinner and going home today.
That new board is blowing all the money.
Yeah. It's a great thing down here, by the way. And, you know, there's before we get to the next call, and you can figure out where we're going next, there's a whole bunch of people on the other side of the glass who sat through that 33, 34-minute dissertation that I gave patiently. And they are from all over the country and in some cases the world, where we have guests in from Switzerland even. We often try to make sure that we show appreciation for the people who are doing the real work in the booth behind us. But I wanted to actually thank all the people that are out there on this side of the glass, because today was not necessarily the show they were expecting to begin with. And so thank you guys for showing up and participating. We got a few more calls to get through. And as a reminder, on next week's show, you said 4, 5? 5. On next week's show, Don and Phil will be on. So we've got Frank in Dallas, Texas. How are you?
Hello. You guys were talking about cults just a little bit ago, and I have a feeling that I'm going to start a cult that you and Don are going to beg to join.
Awesome.
I'll take that bet.
Do you serve sushi?
It's barbecue sushi.
Oh my goodness. You might have me.
By the way, before we let you get into that, I noticed that when you're talking, there's some pops and stuff that make it difficult to understand. So if we have to interrupt for clarity, that's the reason why. So go ahead.
Sure. Well, I do believe in an all-powerful force, and I think that its power is pretty irrefutable. And I feel that your show is just like a drop of water in the ocean compared to my all-powerful force.
Our show's like a drop in the ocean compared to a lot of things.
Well, sure. Well, first of all, I'd like to make it clear that I fully support and encourage the ACA's continued activism, as well as other secular groups, and I'm very, very grateful for all of the positive change that you guys have made, both on an individual and community level. But let's perform the thought experiment.
Okay.
Let's say that atheist and secular activism is so successful that tomorrow we attain the marvelous result of the entire human population of the earth becoming non-believers.
Okay.
Now, let's say that happens, and does this necessarily affect the remaining problems afflicting humanity and the planet, such as dangerous and damaging beliefs as anti-vaxxers, global warming deniers, racists, misogynists, conspiracy theorists, and all anti-science pundits?
Not necessarily.
Yeah, not at all.
Well, I won't say not at all, because sometimes religious belief is at the foundation for that. And also, if we were successful and changed everybody's mind tomorrow, my goal is not to get people to stop being religious. It's to get people to embrace rationality. And so if the whole world stops being religious tomorrow because they've embraced rationality, then in fact we will have addressed the foundations behind anti-vax and other things like that.
Well, I mean, arguably, yes, you are correct. But I think...
Of course I am.
Oh, yeah, of course you're right. It's easier to approach this, I think, from an aspect that you guys have actually mentioned on multiple occasions on the show, and that's why I think that you'll want to join my cult.
Yeah, give us your all-powerful thing that we're going to join.
Okay, 2 words. Critical thinking.
We're already in that cult. Okay. We've been in that cult for decades.
I understand. Most of your callers call in about religious aspects or sometimes political aspects, but in my opinion, critical thinking encompasses all of these irrational conclusions.
Yes.
If everyone is taught how to think critically, then everything evaporates. You don't have to spend so much time with individual debates on religion, on politics, on child rearing, on conspiracy theories. Yeah. If everybody understands how to think critically, then you don't have to go through the same arguments over and over again.
Well, I agree. It's an important issue, and we do try to emphasize that. But you have to talk to people where they are, and if they're interested in conspiracy theories, or if they're interested in God or whatever, then that's where you have to meet them and kind of lead them hopefully in the right direction.
And I'm going to be extra pedantic for a minute and stick a bow on this, which is we're in agreement with you of the value of critical thinking, but I wouldn't call it all powerful because, first of all, I don't see any likelihood that people are going to be perfect thinkers, even if they understand. There are plenty of people who are critical thinkers about 90% of stuff, but not the other 10. And if you were perfectly critical thinking, I still wouldn't call that all powerful because I don't want to diminish the impact of empathy. Now, I think that you can make an argument that is logical and reasonable, that empathy is incredibly valuable. But that emotional attachment that we have to people, that community building, relationship building thing is not critical thinking. It may be, in game theory, the best way to go about it. But I wouldn't want to diminish its impact on building a better world.
Oh, no, not at all. But
okay, so you don't have an all-powerful force. You have a largely powerful force that we already accept, which isn't a force, by the way.
If that's what you're proposing as your force.
Yeah.
It may be semantics about how you define critical thinking. My whole approach is if everybody on the planet in school or any form of informal education were made cognizant of a list of logical fallacies and cognitive biases, if they could recognize these in almost every debate that goes on, and again, it can be in religion, politics, anything, if they recognize where the weaknesses in the argument are based on those fallacies and biases, then they can try to overcome that and actually have a constructive discussion. The problem is it all gets bogged down in the fallacies and biases. And when you say empathy, I would almost argue that might be an example of a human bias. When we empathize with
yes, but biases aren't necessarily wrong.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. I totally agree with that.
And on that, and
what I'm saying is,
on that note, Frank, I'm actually gonna hang up. We're in agreement, and there were some problems with the call that were audio related, where it was getting more and more difficult. But we're in agreement, and I do appreciate you calling in about it. But on that note, we're going to try to get to a couple more calls before we're done for the day.